Hello and welcome to Knowing You, Being You, which is a series of conversations with changemakers who know that all change, no matter how big or small, starts within you. And I'm really excited today to introduce Patrice Hutton-Jones, known as the Soul Catcher, who helps people connect with themselves very deeply in their body to find their own healing. And she has a very interesting story to share with us and some amazing insights. And just a little bit of background for her. She's been working with people to get into their bodies for the last 28 years. And around about 20 years ago, she moved over from Chicago, Illinois to London, where she has been ever since. And that started her on a quite amazing journey, and she's going to help tell us a little bit about that before we get into the work that she does and why that's so profoundly impactful and transformative. So welcome, Patrice.
Thank you,
It's
Polly.
lovely to have you here, but please do, because you have such an interesting story and backdrop to your life and how you got here, so please do tell us a little bit about where you came from.
Okay. Well, when I was younger, I was an intuitive and empath, and I could come into a room and feel the emotions, the fears, the apprehensions, even thoughts of people, what they were feeling, and that was really overwhelming for me. And so I was very intuitive, very clairvoyant at a very young age, and I didn't really understand it. So I kind of shut down, or I thought something was wrong with it. I thought something was wrong with me because I was always told, "Oh, you're too sensitive." But I
Mm.
could actually feel other people's stuff, what was going on for them in my body. So that
Mm.
was a bit intense, especially when I didn't understand it. So, I managed to shut it off for a little while when I think maybe when I was maybe seven, I mean, maybe when I was 9 or 10, but the intuition was always coming through. Intuition was always coming through. I could never quite shut it all the way down. And different things helped me singing, art. I was always connecting into my higher self, even like with school. So I managed to, like get really good grades because I managed to link in to my intuition quite easily that way. And then I came around to working on bodies when because everybody was into sports and everybody in our family was into some kind of sport. All my friends were into sport or gymnastics. I was into gymnastics and dance. And I came around to body work later on. Um, I guess after, well, right before before I traveled to England. And what happened was there was a tragedy that happened in my life where I lost a child in a car accident. And I always wanted to come to England because I majored in English. I loved um, Charles Dickens, lots of English writers. I majored in English. I wrote to get through university with different scholarships. I was invited to Oxford for writing. And so, and I, because I didn't come to Oxford because my mother thought it was too far away and I was too young to travel at that age, I decided, oh, that's where I'm going to go. That's where I'm going to retreat to.
Mm.
So I I went to England and ended up moving here. So that was a little over 20 years ago. I mean, I started traveling to England maybe 25 years ago. I met my husband after that and ended up coming back to America. He came to get me. And I moved to London over 20 years ago. Um,
Wow.
and I decided to explore every kind of massage therapy, healing, energy, modality you can think of. I was a Reiki master before I came to London. And then I went on to travel to Thailand, to learn how to do Thai massage. And I did Thai Shavuti, holistic, Ayurvedic, Indian head massage, no hands, no hands massage, um, and then I found Bach flower essences and higher vibrational essences, and that just blew my third eye open. And I was in a position where I could deal with a lot of trauma that I had been squashing down for years. Because when you venture onto this course, you're graded by like a panel of doctors. So you have to do case studies with like 30 people. You have to work on yourself. You have to learn how to make the essences feel what they feel like. Yeah. And I could feel them in my body. So the more I was working with the essences, the more I was unearthing all of these suppressed trauma incidents that I had just squashed down, more and more and more. And even then, I did not realize, I was just writing about this, I didn't realize how much that experience of doing that course would change my life.
It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes the most unexpected things are the most powerful and life-changing.
Yeah, I just had no idea that it would just uncover so many gifts in me that I thought were weakness, and uncover a passion in me, because when you suppress all of these things in yourself, you just get separated more and more from what brings you joy, and you become a bit more confused about why am I here, and you don't even know it. You might wake up 2 or 3 years later and think, what am I doing? What? Is life happening to me, or am I happening to life? The moving to England was like really like my spiritual home, because it just really connected me into earth, nature. I've always loved the water. I grew up in Chicago by Lake Michigan, and I was like a walk away from South Shore Country Club, and it was a retreat for me to go there, talk about what's going to happen to my life. I want to manifest all of these things. How is that going to happen? And coming to London and doing that course, like, just connected me with so many different people that I could talk to on a certain level about all these questions I had in myself. And you just keep growing. You just keep growing and expanding. But I have met so many of my soul group, I feel, soul family here in England since moving to London.
So, I mean, I know from having spoken to you before that the connecting thread with everything that you do, and because of the way that you respond by feeling things within your body, is that you're very passionate about connecting people with their bodies, not as in, I think perhaps the way we might understand it at a social level, but this is much, much deeper, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it has happened. When I say trauma, I also had endometriosis at a very young age, and I was told I couldn't have children. But there was this voice in me that was telling me, no, that's not true. And I took all kinds of medications and painkillers, which really numb you from feeling.
Yeah.
Actually feeling. I got to a point where the medication kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, but it wasn't curing the pain.
Mm.
And that made me question what's really going on here. You know, like I'm taking higher and higher doses of painkillers, but they're not actually numbing the pain. Is this emotional? Is there, like something else? I felt like I wanted to take back my power.
Yeah.
I wanted to take back power over my health. And I just started trying to research how I was going to do this. And, I started reading Louise Hayes, all the really important teachers at that time, Wayne Dwyer, like just started questioning my mindset. And I did like amazing things. I didn't realize would like bring me to a certain point of healing within myself, like
Yeah.
actually doing the course. So I had to change my mindset. I changed my eating. I went like on a deep cleanse, and that really started to take a lot of the toxic material that was in my body from the medications out of my body. And then I noticed that um, not just my positivity um, activated change within me, but I wanted to have a bigger vision for my life. So when you have a bigger vision like that for your life, you not only start listening to what you're saying, but how is that reflected around me? So
Yeah.
I kind of knew that what's in me is how it's going to show up outside of me in my outer world. Even then, even though it's not as greatly expanded as it is now, I
Yeah.
knew then that that was like the seed of my empowerment to be able to do that, to change what was happening on my inner world to match my outer world. And I knew if I could do that, that I had access to something really great. And I had a way where I wasn't trapped in a world that was imposed on me.
Wow. That's really sorry, I'm still trying to process all of that, but that's so profound. And I think the beauty of it is that that's what you help people do for themselves now,
Yeah.
because you're moving people into that self-awareness so that they have that power, which is extraordinary.
Well, I'm starting to see that more. Like that's always been like my intention is to. At first, it started really small. Was just to anchor light. That was what I used to say to myself. I want to anchor light on the planet.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna anchor life. And I had a friend say, I'm going to cure death. We were we had like these like really, big dreams for ourselves. But even just that little seed of intention, I could see how that's happening in the people that I work with. Um, and they're all walks of life, like different ages, different age groups, different fields of study, different careers, entrepreneurs, um, celebrities, people that are ill. I worked with a man who was ill. He couldn't speak for 2 years. And just connecting him helped him to connect within himself. He started speaking to his family before he passed on, which was really amazing to see. I didn't actually know that he hadn't spoken for 2 years. His family told me.
Mm.
Yeah, his family told me that he was able to speak with everyone before he passed on, and really have closure with certain relationships. That was really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just I feel like I'm just been walking through like a really magical life once I turned that switch on and felt like, you know what, I can change my life and feel in my body where I felt so much like a victim from being ill, having the surgeries, being told I couldn't have children, but I've had three. I had been in abusive relationships. Um, I had such a bad injury, one of my legs stopped working until I went to Thailand and I learned to do this Thai massage and my leg started working. You know, it's like if you suppress your thoughts so much, it comes into your body, which is one of the biggest takeaways that I've had on this journey. And working with essences as well, working with Bach flower essences, and you know.
Yeah. And so often that manifestation in our physical body is actually linked to what's going on in our thoughts and our beliefs and what we're suppressing, and might be actively suppressing. In the case of, in your cases in trauma and stuff, you would actively suppress it, or it can just be not seeing it.
Yeah.
So that's really fascinating. So tell us a little bit more about how the many different ways that you work to connect people with their body.
Okay. I work with DNA activation and restructuring, which really helps to light up our DNA. Actually, really, I feel that when we are lit up like that, we really use the power that we have within ourselves to expand how we can live this physical life, that being in this physical body, really accessing all those parts of ourselves. And I also help that process along with Bach flower essences. When I work with people online, I channel those different essences. It comes through really clearly. I didn't tell you at the time that I'm doing the shamanic painting course, which is another tool I'm going to use with my clients, because I always see the color, I feel the energy, and I feel that the essences are coming through in that way as well. And it's something that helped me when I was younger to kind of accept this ability that I have. I'm using that. I use Bodywork, and when the difference with the way that I do Bodywork is I can feel like a map within the body with the person that I'm working on. So I have guides that I connect with, usually Metatron and Sanjaman. They come through and they show me different points on the body. So I kind of follow that map, and everybody has a different one. So when that happens, it helps to unlock whatever they're dealing with at that time. So it's not a cure-all, but it just helps to release what's keeping them stuck in that particular mental framework.
Yeah.
And then I usually put together a bottle of essences, or I just send them the essence that the guides are giving me to help them get to a point where they can oversee a situation that they're in rather than feeling like they're in it, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. That ability to step outside of it and observe is the key to awareness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really powerful as well, because you don't feel like you're a victim. You don't feel like you're trapped. You feel like, okay, there's quite a few different options here that I could take, different things that I can do. Maybe you become more aware of foods that are good for you to eat, or you might walk a bit more. There's different exercise that you could do, or you might breathe deeper. You know, we just take we take some of those small things for granted that can give us
Yeah.
a really big transformation in our experience.
Absolutely. I noticed that, for example, I stop myself singing because I've got it in my head that I can't sing. But actually, that's one of the things for me is learning to just, doesn't matter if it sounds as tuneless as anything. It's just let the sound move and start singing. And yet that awareness has been very profound for me, because it realized the importance of sound to my whole being.
And yeah, so that I use sound in my work as well. And it's interesting that you say that, because the sound and the tones actually affect different vertebra in the body, and they all have like different colors as well. So it could just be unlocking that part of you that might be stuck. But I bet you it feels good whenever you sing, you make that sound.
Yeah. Yeah, just giving yourself permission to make the sound that feels right is a huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah, really powerful.
Mm. So, for you, so much has changed since you sort of learned to connect into your body. And even though you were very physically active and, you were very much in your body, as in you were moving it,
Yeah.
you moved yourself into a position where you were really connected with your body, which is slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, very different.
So, how that's something I know the answer to the question, but I mean, how powerful is it for the people that you work with to discover that connection? What changes for them?
I I feel that um, what changes for them is that my particular strong, because we all have different clairs. One of my strongest clairs is clairsentience, clairvoyance, second, um, claircognizance, and then clairaudience. So I feel like that clairsentience is really activated in the people that I work with. So I can feel sound. I can feel sound. I can feel the different emotions. I feel that in my body. And I feel that when when you live more in your body and you have that awareness, you can even feel um, what your organs are saying to you. You're able to release that emotion. I can feel where the emotion is stuck
Mm.
around my kidneys, or if it is in my lungs, or if it's in my liver. And I feel that the clients that I work with, they become more aware of that. Even if they start eating more of a certain color, which supports different organs in your body. You
Yeah.
have to eat that color for the particular chakras how have colors. So people just start doing that, and I see that that awareness wakes up in them, and I haven't given them that information. I think it's just something that they are open to, and and I can see the change. So it's really interesting to me to watch over like 28 years how that happens without me saying, oh, like I don't become I don't become radical and like push my beliefs or ideas or anything on anyone. I like to see that unfold,
Yeah.
however it does for you or for me or for my mother or whoever. I just find it really fascinating to see the beauty and greatness and gifts that everyone has to bring the way that they have to bring it.
That's
That,
so true. So
that,
true.
that individuality is just really exciting for me to witness.
So, given that everybody's so individual and everybody responds in a different way, what would you say is like the starting, if somebody feels not really in their body, um, what would you say is like the starting point? That what's the one thing that they can do to start that process of connecting with themselves more?
A lot of people that are not in their bodies and don't even connect to themselves in that way, I find they're not looking after themselves in a way where a situation might be taking your energy, which is a part of your self-care, or a relationship, or a person, or the environment that you're around. You have to, like, look at that, have a look at it. And sometimes taking yourself away from that situation is going to put you in your body, where you're going to feel into your feet. You're going to feel, you're going to be able to hear your thoughts. Because a lot of people that aren't like in their bodies, they feel that disconnect, and they can't even, like, hear what, hear their own thoughts, or hear their own center. And I find that that's a good place to start. So, like, self care is kind of knowing, okay, should I be eating this, or is it going to make me feel sick? Like, am I going to listen to this person another day when they actually make me feel like this small? Like, where is that self care going to take you? Because that throws you out of your center, throws you out of your body. And a lot of us are walking around and we're up here. We're not we're not even in our bodies because we're not honoring our personal space. We're not honoring our self worth. Um, we're not honoring what's good for us to eat, you know. And I'm no fascist about food, but if you're eating a bunch of stuff that is devitalized and it doesn't feel good when you eat it, but you can't stop yourself, like, something else is operating.
That's such an interesting perspective, just to take yourself out of a situation so that you can connect with yourself again, because that's not, I think, probably the logical, what people logically think of is like, oh yes, I'll go for a run, or whatever. But you're absolutely right. It's that time to actually just go, this is me, and there's nothing else. Because you can't hear, you can't connect with what you're saying. And I know from my own experience, when I first came into this, I'm like, well, what's your body telling you? I'm like, what? See, that's a very strange question. It took me a long time to find that stillness to actually, okay, what is the message that I'm getting from, I don't know. I mean, for example, I get a really tight, itches knot in my shoulder. It's like, well, what's that telling me? I'm just ignoring it and sort of like, prodding it and poking it, but I'm not actually listening to what it's telling me. And it took me a long time to learn that stillness and to step away from the immediate niggle of what was going on, to say, okay, what does that mean to me? So it's
and it can, that there can go right back to childhood, because maybe sometimes when we are questioned about something that is really important to us, and really precious, but it's not honored by someone outside of us, we tend to do that. It's like you're not accepting me, that it sets there right in the shoulder blades. There's points there for the colon and the intestine. So, you know, there's could be tension, again, tension, or like unrest in the digestion. All the points there, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that, you know, I've certainly taken away from talking to you, is just that connection between the emotions and the physical side of it. It's very easy to dismiss that, but when you start to realize where you hold certain energies and certain tensions, or even certain beliefs, when you realize where you hold them, then you've got the key to making the change. Because we get so socially, we're all up here in our heads, and we're in a body for a reason, aren't we?
Yeah, so if we're I was writing a blog about this. If we're too in our heads, if we're just operating from there alone, then we're only living half a life. So we have to, you know, like just honor what the body wants and has to say as well, to like have this fuller experience of life, and
Yeah.
to accept our bodies, because we judge what it should be, what it should look like, how it, you know.
Yes, we do judge our bodies rather harshly, don't we?
And I'm just happy mine can move.
I think that's so interesting. I was watching a video. I don't know if you may have seen it. A video of a girl. She's 8. I think it was a little while back, so she might be a bit older than that. But she's has cystic fibrosis. She was so motivating, so inspiring, that she was, you know, even though her body was really, you know, as you say, you know, she was grateful to be able to move, grateful to be able to breathe. She was still so connected into her body, so that she could really live her life. So yeah, I'm absolutely, yeah. When I was watching that, I was thinking of some of the things that you and I had talked about, and thinking about how profound that is in terms of just being able to live, because we can't live only in our heads, because then there's nothing tangible to put those thoughts into action, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think actually studying dance and dancing, you know, like pretty much like I was a late student as well, because I've always loved dance, and was told, oh, you can't be a dancer, because, you know, I loved classical ballet at the time, and I was told my boobs were too big, you know, like to be a dancer. I've always danced, even through university. But as an older dancer, I studied in London when I came to London, and I did, you know, like several diplomas, and even got funded to do my own project. I got accepted to Laban when I was an older student, but it was really far away for me to travel with a young son at the time. So I did my own project, and I've met students who had one arm, or they were disfigured, and the way that they dance and they move across the stage just humbled me, and it just taught me so much about expressing the beauty or message, or just such profound words and stories that we as people have to share with each other, that can heal us, or inform us, or move us, as an art form. That was really beautiful to experience and to see. It just brought me a new appreciation to the body, having that experience, and to see what you know, some disabled people can do in their bodies as far as the Olympics and everything.
Yeah.
It's just what the body can do, I feel, is expanding beyond what we thought the body or the mind could conceive 100 years ago or 200 years ago. I feel like that is evolving, and we're going to be able to hold more light, or we are actually holding more light. We have access to more information. The way that we create is evolving and expanding beyond what we can conceive. I think that I feel, and
Yeah.
deep in my being, that is an actuality for us all to have access to and to experience.
And we have lived in such I think it's a mindset of limitedness for so long that that's certainly one of the messages that I say to people is like, look beyond. You know, it's one of the reasons I use a blank piece of paper as my starting framework for anything, is because when we put the constraints around it, of this is what's done, or this is what's possible, then we can't see what could be and what we're truly capable of. So, I mean, I think, you know, you've talked about so many different aspects of things that you bring into your work. You know, you've got painting, you've got dance, you've got sound, you've got essences, you've got all sorts of energy work, and then you've got your clairs, and it's like there's so many bits to it. And I think what I find so totally inspiring is the embodiment of, there's only one way to describe it that's coming to me at the moment, which is it's totally holistic. It is seeing who you are as not something separate, not something out there, but something that is within you, that is within your body and expressed in your body, and has so many dimensions to it. And I'm still trying to process all that. But you know, I mean, that it's, I think what just strikes me is just how varied your toolbox is, if you like, to help people overcome trauma or challenges in their health, or, you know, all the various things that you do help people with, which is, you know, is amazing. So, I mean, if you were to say, you know, what's, if someone's thinking of working with you, or, you know, or was thinking, but there's something not quite right, you know, what is the trigger that you look for, the thought that you look for that says, you know, this is the person that I need to work with? Does that make sense? I'm not sure. That came out a bit rambly, but, you know, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I put out a call or the intention to work with clients that are conscious over 20 years ago. And when I say that, I feel like they have an awareness in them that they can change their life, that they can expand their world, and and they'll look for someone like me to help them listen more, because I listen. So help them listen to themselves. That will inspire them to go beyond their own limitations, and to even be pushed a little bit or taken to that uncomfortable edge. And that will help them or support them in being more of who they are. And most of the people that do come to me, they may not say that it's about trauma, but that trauma is trapped in their body somewhere. And most of the time it's been through some type of abuse or addiction, or, you know, really bad relationship, low self-worth. lot of the things that I've been through.
That is the thing. It's the things that we've been through are often the things that we are best placed to help others see when we have come out the other side and we have that objectivity, and we can see it in a different light. As you mentioned earlier about that difference between being in that victimhood and stepping outside of it and saying, actually, I'm going to go back and find it, but you said something absolutely beautiful about, your greatest strengths with what you thought were your greatest weaknesses, something along those lines. But that's exactly it. It's seeing the traumas that you've had. And that's one of the things that I found so totally infectious about you is the joy you have of the experiences you've had, even though they have been, some of them have been absolutely horrible. You still have great joy that you've had those experiences, which is an extraordinary ability to step beyond the situation.
I mean, I've been really blessed to keep meeting such amazing mentors for myself, teachers, like instead of having the experience of learning from a place of jealousy or anger or rejection, I feel like, okay, I can learn those things, but I'm learning from heart-centered experiences, heart-centered interactions and relationships, because I'm allowing myself to love myself more and to honor myself more and to have more self-worth and self-awareness for myself that I didn't 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And I think that that's what's helping me to really embrace and appreciate my life and what I have to share.
That's a very beautiful sentiment. And it speaks so much to, I mean, it's one of the reasons that I absolutely adore listening to you, is because of that, that genuine love of an appreciation of everything that has brought you to this point. Now, I will put the links to, some links so that people can follow up with you and keep in touch with you underneath the video. But is there anything, what would you like to say to people? Words come. How is it best for people to keep in touch with you and come and find out more about you?
Okay, well, anyone can find me on Facebook. I've got my business page is Patrice Hutton-Jones, the Soul Catcher 111. My website isn't done yet, but I'm really excited about a beta course that I'm doing, and it's in the process of being trademarked, but it's incorporating a lot of these things, about really being in your body, taking that DNA, having the DNA activated and restructured, and it's incorporating lots of my tools that I've shared today. It's an 8-week course. I'm really excited about it because I got like the download for it, and I'm like, really? This is going to be fun.
So have you got a link for that you can share with us?
I don't have a link, but anyone can message me.
Excellent. Okay.
They can just message me. Let's have a talk about it. Talk about it first. Get to know each other. Have a sit down and just see if we work together. If it will work. It's going to be a group course. It's very small, intimate group of 4.
Oh, I love group courses that are smaller. It's very much more powerful.
Yeah.
Excellent. So yes, so please do go and find out more about that. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I do want to say thank you so much, Patrice. It's been really inspiring. I need to go back and listen to it again, because there was some absolute sort of like real light bulb moments for me, and there's some real gems that I want to pull out and hold on to. And thank you so much. And as I said, I'll leave all of the links to find out more about Patrice and find out about her course and the amazing work that she does. So please go follow up with her. And thank you again, Patrice.
Thank you. Thank you, Polly.
Thank you.